Hi, I'm Brian, here for the Lincolnwood Library, today to talk to you about Google Drive and a bunch of Google apps. With more and more of our work migrating to digital, online, and remote situations, we're all having to adapt. Google provides tons of free applications available to anyone with a device and an internet connection. They are some of the best, simplest, and most flexible solutions out there for many of the tasks we do day to day in our work, social, and personal lives. Google offers standard versions of these applications for free to anyone, but some organizations pay monthly subscriptions for even more powerful versions of these applications, which Google calls Google Workspace. We'll go through the free versions today, and we'll talk about making a Google account. And then once you have that, many of the applications you can use, such as Google Drive, which is the hub where most of your Google content is stored, Google Docs, which is Google's version of Microsoft Word's typing program, which is very good at sharing content you create. Google Sheets is a spreadsheet application that also has the excellent sharing along with most standard spreadsheet features. Google Slides, which can help you make presentation slideshows. Gmail, Google's great email service, which is one of the best and has excellent spam and search functions. Google Calendar, which integrates with other Google apps and lets you track your schedule on any device. Google Keep, which is a great note-taking application. Google Meet, Google's new video conferencing application that competes with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Skype, and many others. And Google Photos, one of the best photo management applications out there with excellent photo search, organization, and sharing features. And we'll even go through a few more apps. Let's get started. Everything we'll talk about today requires a free Google account. The easiest way to create a Google account includes creating a new Gmail address. To create your Google account, you'll need to go online, and I'll do that with the Firefox web browser. Depending on your settings, Firefox may open to a different page. In the top address bar, you can go to google.com, which is the page that I was on, and you'll press sign in. On the sign in page, they kind of hide, surprisingly, create an account, and you'll do it for yourself. You'll type your name and your last name. Then you'll have to pick your username, which will also be your email address. And you'll have to pick something unique. You'll probably want to pick something that is more memorable and shorter than this. And you'll have to create a password. You want your password to be long, unique, and memorable, which is a difficult combination. So I've got my password. And once you've got that, you can press next. So they ask for your phone number. You can also optionally give them an email address, an alternate email address. And then they require you to put in a birthday. It just has to be something that is older than 13 years old from today, due to U.S. laws that require people with accounts to be over that age if information is collected about them. And you can select whatever gender you like. Then there are Google's terms, which you have to agree to. But I'm not actually going to create this account, so I will press cancel. After you finish creating your account, you will be sent to either Google's homepage or probably Gmail, and you can use the button that is 9 squares to switch between different parts of your Google account. And next, we'll go to Google Drive. This is Google Drive. It is a pretty simple layout. In the middle, you have your content, and you can scroll down and see. At the top, you have quick access. There is the ability to view details about items that you've clicked on with this I button here. And you can change to a grid view for everything to see larger previews. I like the list view myself to show your files. There is a great search menu at the top for everything you have uploaded. You can filter by file type. Maybe I'm looking for a PDF. I can find all the PDFs that I have uploaded into my Google Drive account. I'll press the X to go back. There is advanced search as well, which has a ton of options to find the specific content within your drive. Go back to the beginning by pressing My Drive. There are sections of your drive on the left. You can see what has been shared with you from other users. And you also see the owner in file listings. So me, things I created. Someone who works for another library organization created this file. You can filter to recent files, see things that you have starred, and see your trash. I'll go back to My Drive, the main section. On the left also it shows your storage. This shares the same pool of 15 gigabytes of storage that is shared within services like Gmail and Google Photos. And you can manage your storage to see large files. Go back to My Drive. If there's something in particular I'm looking for, like a document related to the library's new Xbox controllers that were circulating, you can just do a search. The items in searches are live. You can single click to open up, and we are circulating Xbox controllers, so you can check one out if you want to have a larger local game party. You can see previews like this of most file types, even if they are not file types that are native to Google applications like Google Drive. Press the back button to exit out of that. The New button is very important. It allows you to create new content. You can create new folders just to organize things. For example, I can say a folder on 2021 is coming up. So I'll hit Create, and there's my 2021 folder. Items in the list here, not in the search, but in the list, basically the area below that, you have to double click to open. So here's my 2021 folder. I haven't put anything in here yet. I can go to New and File Upload to put things there. I will go to the Downloads and a few of the assets I've been using to make this video. I can select one or select multiple and open to upload that. And there they are. Again, you double click to see items in previews. If you need to re-download, anytime you see a download button like this, it will download to your local computer. You can hit Escape or the back arrow to get out. I'll hit My Drive to go back. You can also create new content with Google's apps. If you press New, you see there are links to Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, more. You see other services that Google has. Google Drawings, Google's custom My Maps, Google Sites, and Google Jamboard is gaining popularity. Just go to Docs quickly, We'll be talking about docs soon. It opens up a new document for you. Under New and any of these documents, if you hover over the arrow, you see that along with blank types of these documents, you can also make things from a template, which is very helpful if you don't want to do formatting. This is comparable with Microsoft Office Suite, which has lots of templates as well. You can see the file size for items. Folders don't count as file size. You can see how your storage is being used. When you click on something, there are options at the top. You can delete a file, preview a file, share the file with someone else, get a link to it to share with anyone, and see even more options with the 3 ... I can add this, for example, to starred. And now when I go to my starred files, there one is. Your Uploads panel will stay there until you either hide it with the down arrow or remove it. So this is your hub. It's very simple. Google Drive competes with products like Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, Amazon Drive, and Apple iCloud. You've got your quick access at the top that you can access things from. You can't count on this to stay the same because if you access something different, this is a listing of your most recent. There's also settings of Google Drive. You press the gear and then settings, and you can see some settings specific to Google Drive. Press done to get out. So next we'll take a look at Google Docs. There are a bunch of ways to get to Google Docs. From Google Drive, you can press New and Docs, and that will open up a blank document where you can start typing. I'll go back to Google Drive. If you press New and then the arrow to the right, you can look at templates. And if you're doing a resume or a basic letter, there are a bunch of great templates that you can use to streamline making a document. So here's their resume template. I'll go back to Google Drive. There are 2 more ways to access Google Docs. I'll hit the plus to go to a new tab, and you can type in docs.google.com. And this brings you to a similar screen to the templates. You see they have the template gallery up top. You can expand that to see all. And if I go back, you can see a view of your Google Drive with just the Google Docs highlighted. Last, again in a new tab, you can type in docs.new. That's a special web address that Google owns that redirects within your account to a new Google document. So now that we are in this document, let's take a look through. You have most of the controls at the top. You've got File, where you can download a copy. You can download into popular formats like Microsoft Word and PDF. You can do standard edit, undo, change your view, insert pictures and charts and all sorts of different things. You can mess with the format. They have word count. It's very comparable to Microsoft Word. At the top, you need to give the document a name, and I will just call this example document. And you see this saving and last edit was seconds ago. As long as you have this cloud with the check icon, that means that the document has been successfully saved. All changes saved to Drive. You can see the version history as well. Google is tracking your document, and you can access literally every change that has ever been made to it, which is great if anything ever happens. So it is a live preview, just like all documents. I will give it a title, and we can highlight and use our controls here to format. The styles are great. If you just use these styles, you will have a very nicely laid out document. This is the title, and then I will return down. I'll just say section 1, section 2, section 3, have a subsection, when you use those styles, I'll call this heading 1, your document has a layout on the side. You can see an outline. I'll call these heading 2. So you see it's nested within the other sections of the document. When you highlight, you have all the controls like bold, italic, underline. You can change the color of text. I'll use a blue like the library's logo. And of course, you can highlight. If you go to normal text, it's a little small. A lot of people use 12. This is at 11. We can use that plus or minus to change the font size, and I can press on the font face to change that. I will go to Times New Roman. You've got all your standard tools like alignment. It's left aligned. I can center align or left align. In my subsection 2, I will just put together a quick list of library ebook applications. And you can do different types of lists. For this, I will just do a bulleted list. And we have Overdrive and Libby, both of which connect to our digital library of Illinois library. There is some automatic formatting that is done. If you do a link, for example, https://dlil.overdrive.com is where the ebooks can be accessed. And as soon as I hit that space, it formats that as a link. I can click on it and then click the link, and it takes me to the Lincolnwood Library ebook app, which is great. You've got the undo button and redo if you need to make changes. You can zoom in and zoom out, 50%, back to 100%. You can also make a numbered list. So I will press the numbered list, and I need to finish recording about Google Docs, and then, of course, edit the video. So you'll see the results of that. If I spell something wrong, there is spell check. You see this is underlined. I can right-click and see different options. Now, there's not a good spelling suggestion for this because it's gobbledygook, but there is spelling suggestions. I'll highlight Overdrive and Libby. You can either add comments or suggest edits. If you're working with other people, suggest edits is a good option. If I'm just working alone on a document, I'll just make the edits myself. I can add a comment and say, ebooks have been popular during the pandemic. I can cancel or comment. And If you're working with multiple people, you can use these comments as issue trackers, mark as resolved, or I've got options and I can delete. Google Documents integrates with Google Calendar, Google Keep, and Google Tasks to help keep your Google workflow simplified. It also works with your printer. You could delete the entire document if you've changed your mind. You can add it with a star to that star section, and you can change what section of your Google Drive it is. Maybe I need to move it to 2021, and I can move it. Now, it doesn't interrupt my editing, which is great. You can share your Google Documents, which is wonderful. There's the share button, and when you hover over it and all the other controls in Google Documents, the controls try to tell you exactly what they do. So this says that right now this sharing is only private to me, that padlock. I can type an email address of someone I want to share it with, maybe my coworker. And then I can hit send, and that would send to him. And you can also customize if they are able to edit the document, only comment on it, or only view it without being able to comment. So there are a lot of levels of access that you can give to someone. You can press the gear button here to see some other sharing settings. And I'll just press cancel to get out of that. You can also make a link. So if you want to email someone rather than using Google Docs automatic sharing functions, you can copy a link, and the link is copied. I could paste it somewhere to be able to share it with someone else. So Google Documents is very flexible. You've got your standard live preview of your document. You can do things like insert images, and you can upload from your device like standard, or it integrates with Google, which is great. I'll search for Lincolnwood. And here is an image of the mall. I can click it, click insert, and it's syncing, and there it is. So it is a really clean document solution. It's free, and it is within your Google Docs. Next, we're going to cover Google Sheets. You can get to Google Sheets in all the same ways as Google Docs. I will press New and Sheets this time. The sharing features, the integrations with other Google services, and the ability to download in common formats like Microsoft Excel and PDF are all the same. The controls are mostly at the top as well. You've got File, where you can print and delete if you need to, make a different one. You've got Edit, Undo, changing the view. All your standard spreadsheet functions are in the menus at the top. Unlike the Google document, of course, it is a table of cells. You've got all the columns across the top, A through Z by default, and all the rows on the left, 1 through 1000 by default. Now, Google Sheets is more flexible in regard to rows than Microsoft Excel. Excel starts you off with more than 1 million rows, but Google Sheets just does 1,000. So it loads more quickly, and you still have the option to add or remove a whole bunch of the cells. So I don't need all these rows. I'll just do the first 50 or so. And you can right click, and it gives you the ability to delete rows, and you can still add So it's really flexible in terms of your layout. The buttons, you can insert left or right, new rows. Of course, you have the labels that say what cell you're in, currently B8. I can go up to A1 where things start. I'll just type my name in here. So the cell shows the result of a formula, and the fx function bar at the top here shows the code that generates the result. So if I do a very basic formula, equals 1 plus 1, and hit enter to go out, the table of sheets shows the result. The formula bar shows the code that generates it. Now, before I get too far, I need to give this spreadsheet a name. So, example spreadsheet. And all the features related to moving and making sure it's saved and version history are the same as well. Now, there are additional features related to making your spreadsheet. Maybe, for example, I'm going to make a little log of a hypothetical small business's sales. The sales, of course, is going to start out in January, and then they'll continue in February. As soon as you have some sort of pattern that the spreadsheet can analyze, you can highlight the cells, and then this little square in lower right corner, get the little plus over it and drag. And it figured out that I want the rest of the months, which is really cool. So then we can do some sales numbers. And again, for number patterns as well, it should recognize the pattern, hopefully. So you can change the size of cells as well. You can do all the standard formatting things. Maybe I want the months to be aligned on the right, and maybe I want the product names to be bold and italic. You can also change the color. Just make that a gray, although that's hard to see. So you've got undo and redo. In terms of the actual cells, you can give them borders beyond the default little tiny faint border. I will just do all borders. You can customize. There are a lot of options for borders. You can change the size of the cells I mentioned before. Let's actually do it now. So the lines between the letter labels, A through Z, I can drag. Or if you hover directly over one, like between D and E here, and double click, that will automatically resize to the widest part. You can also just manually drag the row height as well. Now in View, you can get rid of the default lines, but you see the cells are still split up. When you're working on custom dashboards, it really makes your spreadsheet look a lot better to get rid of the default grid lines. Now, you can also make charts. If you highlight data, insert, and chart, Google Sheets will try to figure out how to lay out your data. It may not be perfect, but it will pull up the chart editor where you can customize just about everything about your chart. Click away from the chart, those controls disappear. And if you just double click back into the chart editor pulls up. I can hit the X to exit out of that. You also can enable things like filters. So you can customize the data that is shown. This is really good for large data sets, not in sets like this. There's the ability to format numbers. There's a whole bunch of different options here. pretend these are dollar values, and you see that the chart updates as well. If you need to delete a chart, you just press it and press delete. And it also deleted the data, which I wasn't expecting. There's undo if you ever have problems. There's a custom data menu where you can manage your filters and do data validation and pivot tables. Google Sheets doesn't have as powerful of tables as Microsoft Excel, but slowly over time they have been building up features. You can share and you can make comments on data. And you can increase the size of your text, although that's way too big. And you can do more advanced formulas. So maybe I want to put a total here in row 17. All formulas start with equal, just like in Microsoft Excel. And the suggestions actually are pretty powerful, and that's exactly what I want to do in this case. I can add up all the numbers above it, which is C6 through C16. Now you can use that same dot at the bottom to drag to the right, and it figures out the total for that product too. If I click on a cell, then click into the formula bar, it shows in highlight what data is evaluated, and it also shows the value on the fly as you are typing. So it's really great because it kind of helps you to make your spreadsheet. There are all the standard vertical and text wrap features. You can also do angled text. It's really a pretty full-powered spreadsheet program. So far we've just been in sheet 1, but you can make multiple sheets. A lot of people use spreadsheets for budgets. It's 2020 now. Maybe I want to do something for 2021 and keep it within the same Google Sheets workbook. The worksheets can be together in the one spreadsheet, but kind of separate within themselves. So it is a powerful spreadsheet program. It's free. It's within your Google Drive, and it has a great help menu as well. They have a full list of functions linked right there. So you can see absolutely every function that is possible in Google Sheets. So maybe I want to do an average, and they have multiple different formulas that relate to average, and I'd probably just wind up using this very basic one. So Google Sheets, it's very powerful, another spreadsheet program. It's integrated in your Google Drive. Let's next talk about Google Slides. You can access Google Slides all the same ways that we showed for Google Docs and Google Sheets. For now, I will hit New and Google Slides. It takes me to a Google slideshow where you see in the middle of the screen the live preview of the presentation slide you'll create. There are clickable text boxes that you can put your presentation title into, and if there's a subtitle, you can type that in. You can resize boxes by dragging them. You can rotate them with the little handles above. Put that back to normal. You've got all your standard formatting options at the top, although this format menu tends to change a lot depending on what you have clicked on. If you want, for example, to animate something, you can click on an element, click animate, and then you see the menu condenses and we get a motion menu on the side. So I can say that the element will fade in on click or after previous. There are a whole bunch of different options. Maybe I'll just slow it down a little bit. And there is how that animation works. So I'll press stop, exit out. You've got your standard undo, redo, a zoom in buttons. You can add a text box. And you see that there are all sorts of options related to the text box. You can change its fill. You can change its border color. You can, again, change the size and drag it around. As you're dragging things around, you may see these lines, which help you align content relative to other content that you have put in. It's very helpful. There are all your standard menus file you can download as a different type or move to trash. You can copy and paste. You can insert all sorts of different content. You can see options specifically related to your slide, including the background. Often you have to change the order of content. For example, this box is above the title. I can right-click and go to order, and maybe I want to send it to the back. There are different options. Now there are also themes that help you really quickly style things. Maybe I like this one, and you see it jives pretty badly with that text box. So I can click on the text box and delete it. Now I'm going to close out of this one. I want to show one with a few more things done to it. So back to my Google Drive, and I have been working on this basic one about the library. So I'll double click that to open it. And here it is. So you've got multiple different slides. You can click to see the previews of different slides. You can also add notes in case you need a little thing to jog your memory as you're presenting. We'll show you presenting a little later. Now, you might need to switch the order of slides. You can do that in the left panel here by just dragging and dropping. It's very simple. You can add new slides using the plus button. The plus will just do a default new slide. And if you need to delete the slide, you can just press on it and press delete. I always hit the arrow to the right, the down arrow. You can see different templates of slides. So maybe I just want the title only for my next section. And you see there are options here related to the text, and then they disappear. Now, I want to work on this with someone else. Presentations are something people often do in groups. So I can go to share, and I'm going to share it with another account that I am also signed into. And I can just send a message. So I can type a message. They will receive that in the email that Google sends them, and I press send. So that person has been added, and you see that the icon changes. When someone else has joined a document that you are working on, you will see that indicated in the upper right, and you'll also see what slide they are on. So the other person can change to a different slide, different than the one that you are on. And separate from what I am working on, maybe I want to move that up, they can work on something else. I forgot to say that the library offers interlibrary loan, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other things I'm forgetting that we offer. So it's 100% real time. You can collaborate on your content. this library slide here, you can see that I put a video in, but it's behind this box. I can click on the element, right-click, order, and bring to front. Google Slides is really cool in that it integrates with other Google services like YouTube. So when I present this later, I can see that video live and I can change how big that video is. So now you see that the other collaborator left the document. You don't see their icon on any of the slides, and they are not present up here. Now, before you actually share your Google slideshow with a group, you'll probably want to take a look at it. There is the Present button, which allows you to view your slideshow as you would view it when you are giving it. There's the left side of the button, which just does your basic start presentation. The arrow on the right gives you some options. Click Present, and here we go. This is our example presentation. You see some controls appear at the bottom, including the ability to exit. You can also do a laser pointer, which is kind of cool. And you can see an overview of your slides. Get out of the laser pointer. Clicking or pressing your arrow key goes to the next slide. So again, some services we offer. We've got curbside pickup and our drive up drop box for your returns. All sorts of e-services that you can access at home. And we do all sorts of outreach and technology training as well. So here's that video, and you see this video is live. So I can hit play on that, and it starts playing this video about our renovation that we finished up a few years ago. So I can hit next to go to the next slide. And if I do that again, this is the last slide, I don't have anything happen. So I press escape and it goes out back to editing the slideshow. That's a brief overview of Google Slides. Next, we're going to go in depth on Gmail. You can get to Gmail from the Google Apps button and click Gmail. But a lot of people go to Gmail directly, so I'd like to show you that. You can open up an incognito tab and go to mail.google.com. And it takes you to Google's account sign-in, where you can type in either your email address, including the @gmail.com, or the phone number associated with the account if you gave them one. So I'll type my email in and press next, and then I will type my password. Long passwords with numbers and symbols are most secure, and press next. I have two-factor authentication enabled, so on my phone I have received a notification asking if it is me trying to sign in. So on my phone I press yes, and then it logs me in. So this is my Gmail, and it loads to the inbox. The inbox is your main section. It shows you how many messages you have that are new. Most people have tabs enabled. Primary is messages that are directly to you, usually from real people. Social is messages from social networks like Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, other things. There are some advertisements at the top. You can delete advertisements. The next time you log in, they will probably come back. There's also a promotions tab. If you've ordered something, if businesses reach out to you with coupons and things, they will be put here. You also may have updates if you've received statements and messages from forums. Things that are kind of automatically generated are in your updates. Now, there are other folders and sections on the left of your Gmail as well, starred. These are messages that you have said are important and need to get back to. Snoozed, you can hover over a message and on the right see options, including snooze, where it will kind of disappear from your inbox until a certain time that you specify. You can kind of use this as a task management system. I had snoozed this message, a link that I wanted to post to Twitter, until 6 p.m. today. Important messages are ones that Google's artificial intelligence has judged to be super important to you, usually coming from real people or people that you message frequently, and they have this little flag there next to the star. Chats, if you use Google's Chats function, they are logged here. You can see your sent messages if you need to find something that you've sent to someone else that is otherwise not appearing in your inbox. Maybe they haven't replied. You can view it here. You can see drafts of messages that you have not completed yet so that you can finish them and send them back. And you can just click on the message to pull it up to finish composing it and send it. All mail shows absolutely everything, which is very helpful. Trash shows things that have been deleted. You can set up filters to delete things automatically. And of course, there's a trash button manually on messages that I'll show you later. You can empty trash now if you want to stay on top of things before they are deleted in 30 days automatically. So I will do that and confirm. And there we go. Those messages are deleted. So the categories are the same as the tabs in the inbox. You can see how many messages are unread specifically in those. However, I prepared an examples label with examples that are good that I don't have to censor that we can talk about. So again, you can label messages with stars and marked important. You have options on the right side. In my account, I have disabled archiving. Archive is kind of sort of like deleting. It keeps the email in your account, but it removes it and makes it smaller so that you kind of don't have to deal with it. However, you can fully delete things and send them to the trash. Of course, you can restore them from the trash within 30 days. You can mark unread messages like this one as read, and then they turn gray, or you can mark them back unread. And here is that snooze button where maybe I can snooze it until tomorrow, but I don't want to snooze that message. So to read an email, you just press on it and it comes up. I sent this from my other account to myself. It's an example email. It includes an attachment. You see more options at the top. You can mark as unread and snooze. You can add it to your Google Tasks if there is something that you kind of have to deal with in the message, something you have to do. You can move it to a different folder if you want to move it to, I have a whole bunch of different folders. I can move it to one of them. And you can add labels as well. There are more options too. You can add a star mark as important. It links up with Google Calendars. And you can filter messages like this. But I will hit the back button. Google has recently added, through their artificial intelligence, automated responses. If you like one of those, you can press it and it pulls up a message and puts that text in and you could send it. This is the composer replying to another message. However, I will just delete this draft. There are other pieces of information. At the top of the message, you see the name of the sender and who it's to, me. You can press the down arrow to see the full details of that, including the full email address of the sender. This is a way that you can evaluate messages to see if they're scams or if they are spam. The name of the sender can be very different from their email address. So you want to evaluate both of those things very carefully. You can see who it's to, the date it was sent, the subject, who sent it, and the security encryption information. You can also see if a message has an attachment and the time it was sent and how long ago that was. There are additional options. For example, you can forward a message instead of replying. You can send it to someone else. So I can send this, for example, to my work email account. And then you can hit send, or you can see send options. You can schedule sending at a certain time, and you can pick a time manually. So that's really cool. If you need a message to appear in someone's inbox at a certain time to remind them to do a task, that can be very helpful. As you're composing a message, I will just put a little text here. There are options at the bottom of the reply composer. You can change formatting. These are all very standard options that even look very similar to Google Docs and Microsoft Word. You can attach files, and it pulls up your standard system browse menu for files. You can insert a link to a web address. You can do emojis and insert files from your drive and put pictures into the message instead of attaching them. And you can put a signature. You can also see even more options about this message. You can click into the top to see even more about the sending of the message. You can see the type of response and edit the subject, and then it pulls up a different composer, which looks very similar but is in a different place. You can edit the subject of the message and you still see the attachment. Now, if I want to remove the attachment, I can press the X there, and I can press the X to get rid of that draft. Now, if I want to reply to a message, I can hit reply, and I had hit forward from this 3-dot menu, but forward here is just the same. So I hit reply, and I could say that picture of your neighbor's tree that fell down and was chopped up is incredible. That was a really big tree. Glad it didn't hit anyone's house. So your email can be as long as you want. People tend to like emails that are very clear and direct, so you'll have to use your judgment to compose it properly. If you see this 3 dots, that means that content from the email that you're replying to has been trimmed. You can see that so that you'll know exactly what will be sent when you reply. Now you can pop out the reply into this version of the composer, or you can press to show the draft here, kind of in line. And when you're ready to send the message, you can press send. And there you go. That message has been sent. Now, you can enable in settings the ability to undo sending. And you have a certain amount of time to do that. You have to be kind of quick. You can set a certain number of seconds in settings. And the way this works, some people think it's magic, but really Google just delays actually sending the message until after that amount of time has elapsed. They send that message to you that the message has been sent, but really it has not been sent until that undo button disappears. So this time I will actually send it, and we're going to wait, and eventually that option to undo the send will disappear. Once it has disappeared, it's too late. If you said something hot in an angry moment, there's nothing you can do about it. And also, if you press the X, that will also confirm sending the message. So undo has disappeared. That message has been sent to my other account. And you might have heard that notification on my phone that the message was received. Now, from this view of the conversation thread, I can go back to the folder. Now, I can see other messages in this folder. For example, Facebook sent me a message from a friend of mine who's running for library trustee at a different library. Content in emails is live, so if there is a link, you can click a link and go to that page. Automated messages from different services and companies have unsubscribe links. They may be in the email header, or they may be at the bottom of the email. If the email that has been sent from a company, whether it's marketing or a social network, has been sent legally, complying with U.S. laws, they have to have some method of unsubscribing, whether it's automated like this, or whether you have to reply to them in some way. I will go back into the folder again. There are the checkboxes next to the messages. For example, this game happened the other day, and this email from Facebook. I don't need these two emails anymore. So I can press on both of them to select both of them and delete them. So you can select a whole bunch of messages, and if you press the checkbox at the top, you can even select all in a folder and do different options. There's also the report spam button. Although I will not click that, none of these messages are spam. Sometimes for certain emails, Gmail detects things about them. And for example, this was an order I did, my holiday shopping. They will add custom buttons to view order or see hotel reservations or airline tickets. And that can help you to manage your email and work through it appropriately. We can click the email. There are pictures in email as well. You can see the live content. I'll go back. You can also see that there are attachments in emails. If there are multiple, they will be listed here. And you can't even have more than show horizontally. You can click on that attachment button to see the attachment before you even go into the email. And this was a partial script for this class that you're listening to and watching now. I can click into the message and see the message. So I've included the attachment at the bottom. There can be links in emails, just raw text links. So I can click through to the library website and see what's going on at the library. I will press the X to go back. Emails have rich formatting unless you turn that off. So I have a numbered list here and bullets. You can do lots of different formatting, including bold and italics. You can do colors, but most people like very plain emails, especially if they're coming from real people. So I'll just send back one of these automated replies. After you send back messages to people, they may reply. So I'm sending back an email from my work account to this personal account that we're demoing, and hopefully we will see that here. Refresh this message so you can see that reply. You can collapse or expand all messages in a thread. You can open them up in a new window, and you can see printing the message. It'll try to find your printer, and it will format the message appropriately. I'll hit cancel and the X to go back. Sometimes while you're viewing a message, you may have an additional message appear, and you'll get a button that says view the next reply. It's not appearing even though I replied. So I said this as well, and you can see the full thread. So now, of course, you can also compose your own original messages. There is the compose button. So you can see that it's from you to someone. So I'm going to send it to my work account. And you can also do carbon copy, which allows other people to see that these people have been on the message, and blind carbon copy, which means that the people who are BCC'd will not see that they have been sent this message. They'll just receive it without seeing any information. You want to give all messages a subject so that your message is not rejected by spam filters. So I will just say example email. Then anywhere beneath that, you click down and you see the subject of the message updates there as soon as you click away from the subject box. And you can type the body of the message. Hi there. Thanks for helping me out with this email stuff. There's a lot to learn. So don't worry if this is overwhelming. Gmail is a very fully featured email service, and it's awesome that it starts out free with your 15 gigabytes of storage in Gmail. So you just type out a message like that. It's very simple. You can hit send. You can highlight content and format it using the formatting options. Maybe I want to make my name bold. And you can attach files. So you press your paperclip button and it pulls up your menu for finding files on your computer, and you click on the file that you want and hit open, and it attaches it to your message. Once the attachment is blue, the text of the file name is blue like this, that means it has been uploaded to Gmail in your message successfully, and you are ready to send it. The attach button turns into a paperclip on a paper telling you that a file has been attached successfully. If you change your mind, you can discard a draft, or you can hit send. So that is sending a message. You can toggle to show or not show the menu if you want even more space for your email, and you can hit settings. There are all sorts of settings. I have this little mini setting menu. You can customize your inbox and you can see the density. There are themes that you can use. I like the default theme personally, and you can see where the messages will be read, including enabling or disabling the conversation thread view. You can see all settings in the custom menu, and you see that there are menus upon menus in your Gmail settings. You can customize how long the undo send is. I've got 30 seconds. You could say how many emails per page, 100, and there's a lot more that you can do. going to go back to the examples folder and press on this message. If you are dealing with a lot of email, rather than navigating back and forth between the email and the section of your inbox and back into a different email, you can use the arrows at the top to go to different messages. This is the last email, so I can go back to the previous emails, and I can see the draft I was working on earlier. So I will hit send on that to send it, and I can hit the button again. So that allows you to really quickly navigate through emails in the same section of your Gmail. You can search your email as well. There's very powerful search. You can press the down arrow to see all search options. If you've lost something, you can filter by things that have an attachment or not. You can do certain days. If you know an email had a large file, has certain words or doesn't have certain words, it's from someone or to someone else, multiple people receiving a message, maybe you remember part of the subject. And that's how you can search your Gmail. So Gmail is a great email service. It is integrated into your Google Drive. You just press the Google Apps button and then Gmail. Next, we will talk about Google Calendar. From your Google Drive or from any Google app, you can hit the Apps button and navigate to Google Calendar, or you can go directly to calendar.google.com. So here it is. It loads on the desktop in a calendar view that mostly focuses on whatever view of time that you pick. In the upper right corner, you can pick that view. They have a month view along with a day view. I don't have anything scheduled yet today. I'm working from home. Or I can see a week view, the month, the entire year. Or you can see a schedule. Here's a whole bunch of holidays from my holiday calendar. Or you can see just 4 days. I will go back to the month view. So you can see the events that you have scheduled. The labels correspond, the colors by default. You can change colors if you like. You can also show and hide the side menu. And if you navigate using the arrows to a different month, or if you are on a week, a different week, you can press the Today button to go in your current view back to the view that includes today. Let me switch back to month. There we go. So you see today's the 18th. They highlight the date with the blue circle. You can see the events that you have in the future. You can click on an event to see more details about it. You can delete an event. You can email events. You can edit if you need to make changes, but I don't, so I'll hit the back button. Click on that again. You can see more options, duplicate, send it to someone else, change the owner, or just close out of it. Now, there are multiple different ways to create an event. You can hit the plus create button, and it defaults to the current day, and it also defaults to the next hour. So I don't need to do an event today. So you can change the day. You can use the composer to make your event. And you can put it on the side or have it kind of in line with your view. So I need to make an event for next Tuesday. The event is going to be called Work in Person. I have a shift working at the Lincolnwood Library in person next Tuesday. So it's got the proper day, and you can do the time. You can use the menu selection, or you can manually type 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, you could click one of the suggestions, or you can type the time yourself. If an event repeats, you can use the repeat menu, and they have a lot of options and even further custom. So weekly on Tuesday for me is the correct option. You can add guests if this is more of an event that other people are going to be coming to. And you can even schedule a Google Meet video conference integrating with Google Meet, which is really cool. You can add a location. This is great for restaurants or hotels, other things. This integrates with Google Maps. So I will search for Lincolnwood Library, and there it is. You can add a description. And if you need to add attachments, you see that you own the event. You can change the color if you like. Maybe I like this color. And if you're sharing your calendar with others, you can customize if you're busy or free, busy, if other people can see, and a reminder. You can also add multiple reminders, which is helpful. And you can see even more options. You get a full composer, and you can see the add guests menu a little bigger. You can press save when you are done, and you created that event, and you see that it does the repeat properly when I go into the subsequent month. Let's take a look at Wednesday. I can click on a day to create an event, and I'm going to pretend that I have a dentist appointment. And it's at, we'll say, 9:10 a.m. Hopefully it doesn't last a full hour. I don't know the location. You don't have to include information that you don't know. Obviously, you would want to know a location, but in this case, I don't. So you can press save, and there we go. Now, if you were to view your Google Calendar on mobile, things like dentist appointment, doctor appointments, dinners, if you schedule your exercise, they have automatic pictures that will show like a picture of a tooth or a stethoscope for a doctor's appointment. The labeling in mobile is really nice. Now, along with timed events, you can also schedule kind of all-day events. If I click on, this is the day before Christmas Eve here, I will say last minute holiday shopping, exclamation point. And this is going to be an event that is taking place kind of through the whole day. If you don't assign a time to an event, it is an all-day event. So I can press save, and all-day events appear at the top before other events. So I can see all-day events, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. On Wednesday the 23rd, my daughter has a music lesson, and it overlaps with my dentist appointment. My wife is going to help her with that. So I will say Izzy's music lesson, and it is from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And its location is Zoom. I can hit save. If you have overlapping events, and if you go to the day view, and if I navigate to that day, you can see that events overlap. So the day view is really helpful. And if you decide, hey, maybe I am actually going to reschedule something, you can drag events in this view up and down for the hour, and you will change that time automatically. Put that back though, and you see the overlap. Go back to the month view. On the left side, we have the calendars. You can hide and show calendars at different times. So if I don't want to show the holidays, or I want to show the holidays. Now, you can also add tasks, and you can see options for tasks. So I've enabled the task calendar. Now the task option is here, and my wife and I are going to host a New Year's Eve party. So I'm going to say prepare for the party. Description, there's lots to do. So you can add to-dos, tasks in your Google Calendar, and they appear like this. And when you click on it, you can mark it complete. Obviously, that is not complete. You can delete or edit, just like other events. Now, at any time, you can show or hide these calendars. You can create events that are far off in the future. For example, I want to create an event for my daughter's birthday. So I can click Create, and then on the day here, I can use the calendar. I can navigate through months looking for August 2021, and it's an all-day event that repeats annually. Now, the birthdays calendar imports from your Google Contacts, so you'll have to navigate to Google Contacts if you want to use that. But you can also just manually create events for birthdays. And this is the kind of event that would appear on mobile with a birthday cake, which is really nice. So I'll hit save, and there it is. Press today to get back. If you can't remember when a specific event is, there is the search. And I'm trying to remember when my work anniversary is. So I'll say work anniversary and search. And here the event comes up. It's July 11th. So I can click to see that. And if I want to make a different reminder or something, I can edit the event. So you can see what you have forgotten by searching. Google typically is very good at search, and Google Calendar is the same. Calendar integrates, of course, with Maps, Tasks, and Google Keep, and you can switch to other apps. There are settings as well. You can mess with the density and color. I'll hit done. And you can see a more full settings menu. It's got the right time zone. You can customize if you move. And you can see which view options you have selected. I'll press back to go back. So again, Google Calendar, you can navigate to it at calendar.google.com. It is available in just about every platform for every device, and it's really great on mobile. Next, we'll talk about Google Keep. Google Keep is not accessible from the Plus New menu in Google Drive. Google Keep is a note-taking and to-do list app, and you don't want to have more than one Google Keep, like you do potentially have multiple Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, Forms, Sites, and other things. You can get to Google Keep by going to keep.google.com. And it loads your to-do list and board. You can have links and pictures there are different sections of the app, a menu that you can customize to see the sections in a small view or in the larger view. There are settings over here, including a dark mode, which is kind of cool. And you can see things in a list view. I like the grid view, though. So you can take a note. They have this composer at the top, and I will give it a title. So after I finish producing this and some other sections, I have to edit them. And I can say that I want to make sure to remove any mistakes. Compile the sections together. So I can hit close, and it adds it to my keep here. You can see that we can adjust them. You can move it around. It's very visual. If you're a visual person, this will make sense to you. Now again, you can switch to the list view if you're really not like that. You can still reposition the notes. And you can see that things are saved with the cloud check icon. I'll go back to the grid view, and it reloads. To select a note, you can hover over it and press the check, and then you see different options at the top. You can pin it to the top like this. You can set a reminder for it. Set a reminder for that day at that time. And I can change the color. You can archive notes, or you can click the three dots for more options and delete. Again, you select. You can also pin a note to the top, meaning that no matter how many notes you have, these notes appear at the top. And if I want to undo a pin, I just press unpin. And when you hover over the note, you see those same options. You can also add a picture. It will go to your standard file upload menu on your computer to find that picture. And you see those same options. You can also make a checklist. So I will say editing to dos, and I need to edit the Google Keep portion of the class, and the Gmail section, and the Google Calendar section, and a few others. Now you can reorder by pressing and holding on this little grid of 6 dots button and move them up, but I want Google Keep at the top. And you can remove one by pressing the little X. And you can say that the task is complete by pressing the checkbox. Now it shows the completed item. You can hide or show that. If I press close, again, that's how you save and add it to your Google Keep. You can also draw a note, and I am not a very good artist, but I will just say hello. And there's all sorts of options to change color and size and put a grid as well. You can start new or export or delete. But I will just hit back and it is saved. And I can just say test note of a drawing. And then close. And there it is. Now again, if you need to delete something, you can press the 3 dots and delete. Now another picture button is here, and it allows you to upload a picture. You can see the different sections. You can see the ones with reminders, although I don't have any, ones that are coming in the future, notes that are scheduled at a specific time, and you can edit the labels that you have created. I created the future and schedule labels. So you go into edit labels. You can see notes that you've archived and notes that you have put in the trash. They are deleted after 7 days, but I will do that manually right now. You can also search your notes, which is really cool, and you can filter by type. I know I typed several about the library, so I type Lincolnwood, and up they appear. Your Google Keep notes can be links, so I linked to the location of the library, and here we are, next to the schools. Press the X to go back to my Google Keep, and the X to get out of that specific search, and then pressing Notes to go back to all of my notes. Clicking on a note pulls it up in a bigger view, which is especially great for drawings and pictures. I will press out of that. Google Keep has apps on just about every platform, and they also have extensions so that in your web browser, if you run into anything, maybe something you want to buy or something you want to do, an idea, you can press the Keep button, and then it pulls up a little preview of what it will be in your Google Keep. You can add a note and label it, and save it to your Keep dashboard. You can also just right-click on things, which makes it even more quick to add things to your Google Keep. And that includes pictures as well. So Google Keep is a really powerful note-taking and to-do list app. Next, we'll cover Google Meets. Google Meet is Google's competitor to Zoom for video conference meetings. During the coronavirus pandemic, they released it for people to use for free with some limitations, mainly that if you are on a free account, the people who join your meeting also have to have a Google account. So they are competing with Zoom that has a much more fully featured product set. From your Google Drive, you can get to your Google Meet by pressing your Google Apps button in the upper right corner, and then somewhere in the listing, Google Meet will be there. Your order of these apps might be different, and you can actually adjust them just by dragging them. There are really only two controls. You can create a new meeting if you are the host, or you can enter a code or a full link if you are joining someone else's meeting. By a link, they mean something like meet.google.com/BSW-FQIE-PVD. This is someone else's meeting that I would like to join. So you enter that in, or by code, they mean this end part after the .com/. Everything after that is the code. So I enter that in and press join. It enters me into this preview mode where I can see a preview of how my camera looks and adjust it. It's mirrored. The library logo is backwards here. You can turn the microphone on and off and the camera on and off. You see that it is receiving your audio, and you can change the background if you like. There are all sorts of different options. You can pretend you're on a paradise beach, for example. These automatic backgrounds aren't perfect, but they are kind of fun. And you can do things like slightly blur your normal background. You can very blur your background. You can upload your own picture, or you can cancel. So I'll exit out of that. And you can see other options. You can turn on captions. You can report a problem and see settings. Now, this is just kind of a video conference version of print preview. You still have to ask to join the meeting. So when the presenter is ready to let you into the meeting will actually start. And this is what it looks like when you have been let into a meeting. I've just got a profile picture on my other account, but you would see video from other people. You can see the participants. I'll X out of that. You can see chat and say hi, and they can respond. You can exit out of chat. You can present your screen. You can see other options. You can go to a different layout. They integrate with Jamboard, which is a whiteboard. You can see the meeting details, and you can see closed caption. You can mute your microphone or unmute your microphone. You can leave the call. You can turn your camera off or on. You see your preview of yourself, and again, you can change the views. So I will leave the call, and they ask you to rate the call, but I don't care about that right now. I will return to the home screen. So I can host my own meeting by pressing New Meeting, and I have three options. I can create a meeting for later with a link. I can start a meeting now, or with an integration, I can schedule a meeting in Google Calendar. Let's start an instant meeting. And again, they take you to this kind of video conference print preview option. You need to send your link to other people so they can join. And if you are on a free account, they are required to have a Google account as well. So I exited out, and that is Google Meet. Next, we will talk about Google Photos. Google Photos is the photo storage, backup, and management component of your Google Apps, and its marketing page does a good job of going over it. You can store your photos and videos, and they have a great mobile app where you can press on your initial or your profile picture to automatically start a backup, and that's all you have to do. You can see the locations of photos. Search actually works. This is the first product I've ever used where you could search for a location name or a thing or a person's name, and it just pulls them up without you having to label it. It's amazing. You see all your photos reverse chronologically, and you can share with other people. You can edit your photos. They're sent from your devices to each other. You can do photo prints and books, and you can display your photos in smart frames, and there is so much you can do. So here's what Google Photos looks like. You have search at the top, sections on the left. The main middle portion displays your photos reverse chronologically. So the most recent are at the top and the least recent are at the bottom. You've got your upload button at the top and search. as well. You can select photos by pressing on the checkboxes in their upper left corners or on the checkboxes next to the days to select all the photos from that day. And then once you've done that in the upper left, it will tell you how many photos you have selected and give you options in the upper right. With the plus button, you can create an album, a shared album that automatically shares with other people. Animations, if you have photos that are taken like right after each other, you can make them into a GIF, basically. Or you can put images together in automatic collages, which are fun. The link button allows you to share your photos. You can do to an email address, make a link you can distribute to anyone, put on Facebook or Twitter, or if any of your contacts use Google Photos, it will be very easy to share with them. In the three dot button, after you have selected a photo, you have other options. You can edit the date and time and location, archive it, make it a favorite, or download. If you have lost the photos on the original device they were taken on, Google Photos is an effective backup, and you can download a copy. Under Utilities, Google Photos uses artificial intelligence to analyze your photos and suggest ways to work through them. They'll do things like even suggest you combine photos into a panorama. They'll suggest color edits. They'll suggest rotation if they think that the orientation of a photo is wrong. And if you've done screenshots and if you have temporary files in your pictures that you don't really need, the Google Assistant will help you to get rid of that clutter. Under Albums, you can make manual albums, but they also automatically organize your photos and videos into a whole bunch of automatic albums. People, if they recognize faces, places based on GPS data in your photos, things based on scanning your photos for content. They can recognize clouds and mountains and all sorts of different things. And all of these people, places, and things I've mentioned are searchable. So I could search for Lincolnwood, or I can search for my name, or I can search for, say, cities. And it would think of that as a thing. Things are very broadly construed. Photos are also organized by their type, like videos, collages, animations, and movies. So here are people. Google Photos is very good at recognizing random background people. So you'll have a lot of people that you probably don't even know who they are. You can remove them. You can click on a person you actually do know and add a name, and Google Photos may recognize if they are kind of unsure if a photo is the same person or not. They will ask you if it's the same or a different person. So you click into that name box and you can give the person a name and then click done. So you would later be able to just search for that name, or you could even do a nickname, and then you would pull up all of the photos Google Photos has recognized of that person. Under places, they can be quite specific. You've got Palatine and the Chicago Loop and Lincolnwood. They can also be broad, the whole countries of the United Kingdom and Germany and Greece that I went to in the past. Here is the London location example. I went to London a couple years ago, and it was fun. So you can see those photos really easily just by searching for the location. You don't have to remember when the photos were taken, just where you were. And under things, you can see what I mean about the things being kind of broad. Some of them you might think of more as locations, but you can search through your Google Photos for different things like sunsets and lakes, cliffs, towers, parks, ruins. When you click into the search box, they give you suggestions, which may or may not be good. You can filter by people, by favorites and types of photos and videos, and by locations, and you can show more. Whenever you're in any more specific menu like this within Google Photos, you can press back buttons to exit out. So here is a search for Big Ben. More specific than London, I took a lot of photos in London, and it pulled the Parliament building up. Back to the main Google Photos here. You may have to scroll through to find different photos. And on the right side, you can scroll by the very edge of the screen to go through different dates and really quickly click to a certain year or month. But if I found my photo, I can hover over it, and if I need to select it, I can click in the upper left corner of it, or if I press in the middle, it will take me to viewing that photo. So it's nice big full screen views on your devices. You can navigate back and forth between other photos. You can go back out of the photo to all of your photos, of course, and in the upper right, you have options, including edit, where you have a whole bunch of different options that you can apply to your photo. This is just one menu picture. There are two other menus with lots of different options. There have been rumors that Google Photos is going to either restrict certain of these editing options to paying customers or add even more photo editing options for payment. So that's a downside of Google Photos. They're trying to monetize it over time, but it has started out free for 15 gigabytes so far. So after you've made a change, the auto edits are amazing. You can undo edits if you need to, if you don't like the edits. Back to your main Photos interface. Your mobile devices, like phones and tablets, can upload photos automatically, but if you have DSLR or other cameras that are not connected to the internet, you can manually upload photos using that upload button. You can upload from your computer. You can install a program on your computer to automatically back up, or you can import from Google Drive. This is a little bit confusing, but if you're just trying to upload a photo one time, press that computer option, and it will pull up your standard menu for browsing files on your device. The gear button takes you to settings, where you can see if you have enabled automatic sharing with anyone and manage different settings, including your upload size and storage quality. You can store photos at their original resolution to have a complete backup, but most people choose to slightly degrade the quality to get what Google used to allow for infinite storage of as many high quality photos as you would like. They have updated their policy in terms of high quality storage. As of June 1st, 2021, new photos and videos that are backed up at high quality will count toward the free 15 gigabytes of Google account storage. They used to not count. And basically, Google's getting overwhelmed. People are taking more and more photos, and they need to figure out how to financially keep up with that. So back again to the main Google Photos interface. You can press the question mark button to get help, and they have some good articles. In the print store from the menu, you can do photo books or just photo prints, Canvas prints, they have been bulking this up over time, but the Google Photos print store is really nothing compared to products like Snapfish or Shutterfly, whose entire business this kind of thing is. So this is Google Photos. It is one of the best products for managing your photos in the internet. Last, we'll look at lesser used Google apps, Forms, and Sites. With Google Forms, you can create a free fillable form. I'll press New from Google Drive, and Google Forms may be listed, or it may be under More for you. And I want to look at the templates. You can do things like have a party RSVP, or ask for contact information, find a time that everyone is available. You could collect feedback for a small business or track statistics. There are a lot of different things that you can do with Google Forms, including making quizzes and evaluations for education. Let's go to a blank Google form to show you what it looks like. You can, of course, give your form a title. So I will say example form. We'll show you how to create some questions. So beneath the description and the title, you have your questions. You can click into a question to see more options. So you first have to actually write the question. Can you come to the party? Question mark. Based on your question, Google's artificial intelligence may suggest answers. You can change the question type between a variety of different types. Multiple choice only allows one answer. Checkboxes, people can select multiple from different options. Drop down will make people look in a list that falls down. You can do a scale, a date or time, a short answer, or a long answer paragraph. So if you need one of the suggestions, you can click it and it will add it. You can add your own options, and it added no by default, and maybe as well. Now you can override the suggestions. To add whatever answer you need. After the suggestions run out, you can just type your own answers. Now you can duplicate a question if you need to have a very similar question and just change, maybe say remove one option. You can click to go back to a question and make it required and see other options. You can do things like have multiple sections based on a specific answer, and you can shuffle the option order so that people are not just clicking the same thing to quickly get through your form. There are all sorts of different types of questions. Checkboxes. What would you like to do at the party? Eat, drink, have fun. You can have as many answers as you'd like in checkboxes, and people can select multiple answers. Now you can also do things like have a picture that's not just a question, but it's just a picture, or a video. Maybe you can explain a certain part of your form before you have the people answer it. So you hit plus to add a question, and I'll just do a paragraph. So this is long answer. What did you think of the last party? Question mark. And this will just have a text box that people can type into. Now, if you need to change the order of questions, you hover over a question and drag the 6-dot icon. I want to put this one first. So I drag it all the way up to the top, and maybe I'll make it required. You can duplicate question, but I want to change it to short answer and then change the question. What one thing could be better next time? So asking for them to give their feedback, but in a shorter form. There are all sorts of things you can do to customize. It is really flexible. You can see your responses in the same interface. You can turn on or off the ability to accept responses. Maybe you need the responses only to be accepted in a certain time range. And you can see options. You probably will want an email notification for new responses if you're not expecting too many responses. You can press the Google Sheet button to create a Google Sheet that is linked to the same spreadsheet. However, you should do this after you've given the form a name. Just because in the Questions tab you gave the form the name, it didn't put that as the file name in your Google file. If you click up there, though, it imports that automatically, which is cool. So if I go to Responses now and hit that Spreadsheet button, it knows that I called it Example Form and is ready to create that. So then now it takes me over to the Google spreadsheet, and it has my questions in the top bar, and it is ready to accept responses. So we are waiting for responses. Go back to the questions. Now, before we put this out to people, you can change the theme. Maybe your organization has an image that you would like at the top, or there's a specific color that you like. And you can change different fonts and different options. You can press the X to get out of options. You can press the I button to see a preview of what your form will look like. And you can even type in it. You can answer the questions. And then you press Submit, and the example form has recorded your response. And it even worked in the spreadsheet. And you can see the responses here as well. Now, the pie charts will update after you have filled out multiple times. Some forms allow multiple responses. So we can put in another response and see the data in the spreadsheet and in the Responses tab of the Google form. You can send the form to someone. So you could just grab the link, copy it, and put it into an email to send to people that you want to respond. There are some additional options. You can make a copy if you have a very similar thing that needs a similar form. You can add people to collaborate on your form. So Google Forms is really powerful. You can make simultaneously simple but really well-detailed, powerful forms that people can fill out to get the information that you need. Next, we'll talk about Google Sites. From your Google Drive, you can press New, and under Docs, Sheets, Slides, there's More, and there is Google Sites. Google Sites allows you to create a free, publicly accessible website. You do not, without paying, get to change the website address except for a couple small options. So that's the downside, but it is free. It's within your Google Drive. You can share the website and edit it together with other people. It also adapts for multiple different layouts of device. It integrates with your Google content, allows you to have multiple pages, and even has themes. So I could switch to this Vision theme, and they have some different colors. I'll switch to green to show what that looks like, but I like the blue better. And now let's start to edit this a little bit. So it is a live preview in the middle of the page. The controls on the right and the top allow you to edit the content. And then once you have content in the middle of the page, you can kind of drag and drop, and you can type text to add content. So first, a site name. I'll just say example, Lincolnwood website. They've got a header that is at the top, so we can say a page title. And you see when I click, there are more controls that appear. So maybe, example, I want to align it. And then I can highlight this text and say home page. You can customize the font. After I highlight it, I can customize the font, and I can customize the size. I can also do things like italicize, underline, and choose a different color. But I actually like the white better. You can upload a logo. It takes you to a settings menu in brand images, logo. I can upload. And I'll go to my downloads where I have the library's logo. So then you see it puts it there. You can also customize the favicon, which appears in the upper left corner of a tab. You would just want basically a smaller version of your same logo. So you can change the header. You can just have title only, maybe, except the white text won't work for that. You can delete sections if you need. There's undo and redo as well. Once you've got the top of the page set up, you might want to set the bottom of the page up. You can have a footer. And a lot of times people center things in the footers, and you can say, thanks for coming to my website. So it's just a simple text box. You can change the background of sections. So maybe I want it to be an emphasis. You can double click to add different types of content into the page. So maybe I want a text box, and I will say section 1. Just like with Google Docs, when you highlight text, they have great automatic styles. So if I want a heading, I can use that, and then when I hit return, it automatically goes to normal text. So now you can do things like have multiple pages. I'll hit plus, and I can call the page map. And then you see there is a menu bar at the top that allows you to show all of your pages. So I'll say hours. There are advanced options for pages, but you may not want to do that. I'll press done. I'll do one more, holidays. Now, in the pages menu, you can actually drag pages kind of on top of each other to change the order. So now, within the hours, there is the holidays subpage. So the menu lays out your website really easily. You can change the theme at any time, but most people just pick the theme and then stick with it. I showed you inserting a text box. Let's insert a picture. I've uploaded some pictures before. Here is one of the pictures from our library of things. So I inserted that. Now, as soon as you have content, you can drag and drop. So maybe I want it to the left of this section 1. Now it changes the size, so I might want to maybe put it beneath or just put it on its own. And you can drag the handles to change the image. You can also insert files from your Google Drive. So here is another file from our library of things. I'll click that and insert that. Now these are not live, so you'll have to see the preview to see how that would really work, but it is an embed. It's the full document. This is a PDF. People will be able to use their standard PDF viewers. You can add layouts for different sections. If I go to the map page, I like this layout. Drag that in there. So I can say, location. Here's how you can get to the library. This box is automatically set for me to add something here. And I can add a map. So then I'll search for the library's location. Here it is. I see the preview, and then I can hit select. So it shows that really nicely. And it is live, so when people are viewing this site, they can drag around. I'll go back to the home page just by pressing that there. You can do all sorts of things. If you need a divider between sections, you can add that. Just that little line, it's very simple. If you need to delete a section, you can delete. If you need to move a section, you can drag the little dots handle on the side. And where the thick blue line is where it will go. You can add a table of contents, an image carousel. You can do a button. So I'll say go to a map. And then under link, it'll ask you for options, or you could just type a custom link to an external website. So it's going to go to that map page, and there it is, but I want to move it over here. You can embed videos as well. I'll search for Lincolnwood. And just like that, you've got a video on your website. You can do docs and slides and sheets. Google Forms are really powerful as well. It will be live and able to be filled out by your viewers. So again, you can switch to all the different pages. And you can even put in a calendar as well if you have one. You've got the same options to share as other Google applications. The preview is really cool. You can take a look at the preview. It's not exactly a live preview, because this is not public to the web yet. But it shows you what your page will look like on different devices. So I can see what it will look like on a phone. It automatically redesigns, and it has a nice same menu so that you can find content on whatever device you are on. I can see it on a tablet, which is wider, and on a standard laptop or desktop computer. To get out of the preview, you press the X button. You'll have to mess around with the layouts and with the different content you can insert. You'll do a lot of copy editing to just include the information you want on your site. There are a ton of different uses for this. You could have a simple listing for a small business. You can put up a kind of resume website. You could have pictures of a house you're trying to sell. You can put together something for a club or team. You can see more under the ... button. You can see version history, duplicate if you need something similar. When you're done, you can hit publish. So you see the web address that they're going to give you, sites.google.com/view/ and then whatever after. So you have the option to customize that. You can also, if you want it to be private and you'll just send the link to people manually by email or some other method, you can request search engines not to have your site in their listings. And if you do have a custom domain that you're paying for, you can use Google Sites to work with that. But for now, I'm not going to publish. I will just hit cancel. Explore Google Sites. It's really cool. It starts off free. It saves your changes in your Google Drive and integrates with the content that you are already creating in Google Drive. It is a great free option for making a website. So thanks for watching this video on Google Drive and apps. We covered creating an account, using drives, using docs, sheets, and slides, using Gmail email and Google Calendar, Google Keep for note-taking, Google Meet for video conferencing, Google Photos for backup of photos, and Google Forms and Google Sites. On the library website, lincolnwoodlibrary.org, you can see all of the events and services that we offer, including on our Research and Learning Quick Links page, all of our premium databases, including lynda.com. With your library card and a free account password, you can access the great number of video classes they have on different topics, like Google Drive, for example, to follow up with the class you're watching now. And on the library's website, you can search the catalog for resources that you'd like to check out, books and movies, including ones that you can use to follow up on this class. So thanks for watching. We hope you've learned a lot about Google Drive and apps.